Hello and welcome. I am Henry, and this is Ticket to Life. I hope that you've had a great past week since we met last. And for all of you first time listeners, welcome to you. If you don't know, this podcast is about anything and everything about life. And I like to put this disclaimer out. No one has asked me to do this, but I don't want to be sued later. That I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a life coach. I'm Henry, and these are all my opinions and my thoughts on basically life. I will share stories about people and about what's gone on. And also, I share a lot of my stories. I will change the names to protect the innocent. So, if you can relate to any of these stories, any of these topics that I talk about, don't think I'm talking about you, or maybe I am talking about you. But anyway, thank you for listening and thank you for allowing me to come into your life for just a little while. By the time you listen to this, these are all pre recorded. So by the time you listen to this, the Super Bowl should be over. And for all of you who do not know about me, we love football in my family. Love football. And so I'm not sure what we're going to do starting Monday. Well, Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays free of football time because that's how much time we devote to football. Do I devote that much time to God? I hope that I do, or at least nearly. I do devote time to God daily. But this is my makeup time to pray with because of football. My husband and I are doing this program on the Hallow app, uh, the Bible in a year. Now, if you have read the Bible, then you know it is like really crazy at the beginning. And if you've never read the Bible, it's pretty wild. It's confusing. There's answers, there's not answers, but it's interesting, very interesting. So anyway, that's what we do every night before going to bed. We listen and we spend some time reading the Bible in a year. So hopefully we will be able to accomplish that in 2024. But anyway, I figure I told my husband, well, it's time for us to get reacquainted because since August until this is February. Yeah, that's all we do on the weekend is football. So, yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot of time. But so I recorded a podcast a while back on socially unintelligent. Never really heard this term until my daughter brought it up. So I did a little research. So I did a podcast on it. Well, guess what? I became socially unintelligent. Um, we were invited for a little get together, and whoa, didn't know I was capable of being socially unintelligent. Um, I didn't see that coming because for me, I knew these people. It wasn't like I didn't know any of them. I knew everybody one there except for maybe two people. This was the first time I'd met them. It was about 14, 15 people there. I don't know. Um, but like I said, I have been around them before. And well, they're really pleasant. They're nice people, very kind. Well, they really are. I don't know how to say this. Okay. Now, what I should say, are they friends? No, they're more like acquaintances. And because it's not like I pick up the phone and say, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" No, so we're more like acquaintances. So it was really nice that they invited us over to hang out. It wasn't really a party or anything. It was just get together. And I know this is probably confusing because I'm rattling. But anyway, as soon as I walked in, I felt awkward. And that's pretty much what socially unintelligent is, feeling awkward. And because I knew these people, but yet it was weird. I was in a new surrounding, probably a little anxious. And if you know me, I feel like if you're a listener, like a weekly listener, then you probably know my personality by now. Cuckoo. Well, anyway, so, uh, and I thank you for listening, but and continuing to listen. Like I said, I usually don't feel awkward. around people, but it was just awkward for some reason. I didn't think I ever felt awkward, but that was a wake up call because guess what? I was put in that situation, and it wasn't a bad situation. Um, Everyone was really nice, lots of food, beverages. No one was rude or ugly. But all of a sudden, I thought I was in high school. They were in like little groups, little cliques. There was a little group here, a little group there. So, of course, I go and be Miss Friendly and go and chat with one group. And I was the one, or at least I felt like I was the one making the effort to make myself feel comfortable and feel involved, I guess. And so I went and I chatted with one group, and then one person walked away. And then another person walked away. Now I know these people. Again, we're not best friends or anything. And I thought, okay. So at that point, I said, screw it. And I went and sat down by myself and watched TV. Of course, my husband was there also. Now, if I had been a smoker, I would probably have gone outside and smoked a cigarette and gotten some fresh air. But since I'm not a smoker, it would have been odd for me to just go in there. I need to go outside and take some deep breaths. But it was just weird for me. But anyway, my husband was there too, and we chatted a little, and he chatted with the men folk, and but it was okay. It's just I've never felt awkward like this, and I guess what I should say right now is let's hope they don't listen to the podcast. Maybe I shouldn't tell them I have one. I think they all know that I do though, because I'm pretty sure they'll know I'm definitely talking about them. Now, don't get me wrong. All of you were very nice. So I just had to share that with because I feel like I'm very social with groups, and I may feel awkward going up to a bunch of strangers, but if I see a group and I'm the odd man person out, I go and introduce myself, and hopefully we're talking more about something or in common and not just the weather. But I remember in Pride and Prejudice, they said one of the first things you should speak about is the weather because everyone knows about the weather. So I always remember to talk about that. So if you ever notice someone looking awkward or bored at a little gathering or party, make an effort to make them feel comfortable. Not that they didn't try. Well, wait, I don't think they really did try. I don't know. Okay, now I'm being ugly. They didn't have to invite us over, right? And they were very kind to open their house and have us there. So I just want to thank all of you listeners, and I want to thank you for this therapy session and hearing me out. I feel much better now. Whew. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See, and you thought you were just going to listen to something about being needed. Well, no, I guess I needed you. I needed you to listen. Hold on. Let me get up off the couch because I was during my therapy session. I'm just kidding. I am not sitting or lying on a couch. Anyway, take a deep breath, Henry. Calm down. Okay, now let's move on to feeling needed. Are you needed by someone? We all need to feel needed. Why? Because it's a sense of feeling of importance to some, and it makes us feel good. Um, Now, there are also the people who, if you are such a good person, they will take advantage of, and if you are that type, that they can't say no. You can't say no, and sometimes people jump on that and they take that because ask Henry, she can't say no. But guess what? I can't say no. Um, so that's the type that you have to be careful about when you're feeling needed because sometimes we cannot say no, and you will never have time for yourself and your family and friends if you cannot say no. Now, I know that's a lot to take in, but it is okay to say no. It really is. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Okay, so codependency. That to me, that's a relationship with a person who needs the other person, but who in turn needs to be needed. We love to be needed. The codependent person, known as the giver, feels worthless sometimes unless they are needed, which is crazy, but sometimes it's like, oh, well, nobody needs me, but we need to feel needed and making a sacrifice for someone who's an enabler or sometimes known as the taker. Now, I'm sure we all have friends who they are enablers to their kids. I mean, I know I do. I have friends like that, and they complain and complain, and then I've said, first of all, don't complain to me if you don't want to hear what I have to say about it, and they get upset with me. But a lot of parents become enablers. They don't know how to cut the cord. And I mean, that is hard. It is hard when they're your children. And yet, feeling needed is a healthy and it's a natural thing. And you just have to be careful with being such a giving person. And again, some people just take advantage of that. And that's sad to say, because I like to feel needed. I do. I like to know someone needs me. Um, but the mom that feels, or the mom and dads that feel the need to be and do everything for their family, or coworkers who thrive on to please everyone just so that the kids will like you, your coworkers will like you. No, that's not healthy. Obviously, that's not healthy for you. People will love you and like you for who you are because face it, you're wonderful. Everyone is a good person. I believe, yes, I know there's some really bad people out there, but within yourself, we're not going to compare ourselves to those nasty people. You are a good person. So again, uh, in your life, you need to know that you've got to take care of yourself. Again, it's not healthy for you to do above and beyond for family or above and beyond for coworkers or friends. I'm not saying be hateful to them or anything, but uh, our daughter, here's a little story. Our daughter was still in college and my son was already working, and it was a strange feeling that they didn't need us. Of course, the empty nest thing, people are like, oh, I can't wait. And then once they're gone, you're just like, oh, wait, something's missing. But I was wrong. They did need us, and not for money, thank God. I if my son needed help with something at his house, we felt great to be able to help him. And once my daughter graduated and saved her money and she bought a house, she would call, and if she needed, usually when I say needed something, it was some sort of a home repair. So I would just tag along and go with my husband, and he would do the repairs or help them, put a ceiling fan up or whatever. So thank God that they needed us, because we needed that. We needed just that little bit of wanting to be needed. Um, we did something right. We were able to cut the cord. And even to this day, if our kids just need to chat or help with a project, we feel so happy to help out if we can. And the good thing is that I know how to say no, even to my children, even to my brothers and sisters, even to my friends. And that is not easy. It's just not. It is a very hard thing to say no to someone who you love and care for. Now, let's say someone is ill and they really need help. I hope you can assist them some way. And we can by doing so many other things now, because we can ship anything, food, clothing, anything to anyone. So if you were able to do that, it's possible to help them out that way. But if for some reason we can't help someone and they ask us for a favor, and it might be a little hard to say no for us, or it may be hard for you to say no to someone that you care for, I can do that now. And it is kind of hard, not all the time. Usually it's just like, no, I really can't do that. And I don't have to give them a reason, because some people will continue. So why can't you? Why can't you? And you feel like you're on the spot. And guess what? You don't owe them a reason. They're asking you for a favor and you just can't. All you can say is look at them or tell them on the phone, tell them on an email, tell them on a text. I just can't. Of course, it'll keep them wondering what's going on in your life, and start um, being nosy about, is everything okay? Yes, everything's fine. I just can't. Topic change. So, how's the weather over there? And hopefully, it's not your neighbors who is asking for the favor, right? So, anyway, that's pretty much about being needed. It's just so important for us. But um, also, I did look this up, because I'm not a doctor. But being needed can help some people from getting anxious. Helps them with being uh, social, and it makes people feel wanted. And I read on Google it um, that it can help with our immune system. I don't know how true that is, but that's interesting to know. And of course, on the other hand, some people don't want to be needed and would prefer to be left alone. And that's okay too, because usually, if you know a person like that, you will know not to ask them for anything unless you are desperate. But some people would rather just live their life and be your friend or be your family member and just keep you at a certain distance, like, oh, please don't ask me for a favor. Oh, please, I don't want you to make me feel I need to be needed. But some people just do need to feel needed, and some people just don't. But the other thing is, a lot of people want to feel needed by having their pet. And I totally get that too. Because if you have a pet, it could be a dog, a cat, a bird, a snake, or whatever, you feel needed to take care of this little one. This little, I say a little one, you probably have a Great Dane or something, but because it is very important to take care of them. Now, you think about taking care of a pet. That's why I'm always really against parents, grandparents, friends, neighbors giving pets to small children. That children, yes, they may want a certain pet, but no, they can't take care of them. I mean, because if you're giving a pet to a child, just make sure the child can take care of themselves first before they can take care of anything else. Because if a child cannot take care of themselves, and usually that's not pretty much until, I guess, second, third grade, 8, 9, 10, when they are pretty dependent, where they don't really need you to do everything for them. But I really feel that that's a big issue with me. Like at Christmas and certain holidays, parents or family feel like, oh, they wanted a puppy, because more than likely you are the one who's going to get stuck taking care of that little one, that puppy or dog or cat or snake or whatever. So just really, that's just something that you just need to think before you're giving a pet. But anyway, that is one way for people to feel needed, having a pet or whatever. But honestly, no one has told me this, and I'm pretty sure that most, if not all, parents just want to feel needed. And why? Come on, we brought them into this world, and we have fed them. We have clothed them. We had cared for them. We had made sure they were loved and cared for. And well, hopefully you raised them to say thank you. Thank you for raising them and not giving them up for adoption. At one point, your kids may tell you, thank you, Mom. Thanks, Dad, for doing this. And I mean, it's kind of hard because you don't know how marriages are going to go. Hopefully they go well, but some just don't. And then kids come from I don't like to say a broken home, but where the parents aren't together anymore. But that's when the kids really need you. And not to bash the other parent, but they need you just as much. I guess that's another podcast, Children from Divorced Families. It's just important to know that kids, no matter how old they are, I don't care if they're babies or if they're teens, is really a hard time, in my opinion. That's a hard time for kids, especially nowadays. I think it's a lot tougher for kids nowadays, but I feel like kids need parents more. And no matter what you do, mom and dad, grandparents, whoever's raising the child, this is a tough time. Teens are going through so many changes in their life, their bodies, and this is when they really need you to be understanding. And I like to tell friends that have teenage children or teenage grandchildren, just remember what you were doing at their age, because more than likely you were probably doing something worse. So, kids are kids, and they will experiment on sneaking out like I did. But doing stuff like that. Those are just typical things. Just keep their mindset, but keep them focused that no matter what, you love them and you will take care of them. And I know that's a lot to expect when your kids are having a hard time, but you just don't want your kids to suffer from not being able to talk to you about anything and everything. Anyway, sorry, I'm just going off on something else, but um, I want to say thank you to all the parents who have raised their children, who have raised them because you let them know that they are needed, and that that you need them in your life, and they need you in your life, because we do need them and they do need us. It makes us feel good to, like I said, to feel needed. I don't know how many of you have seen the TV series. It's a drama. There's a little humor in it, called The Chosen. No, they're not sponsoring this, but it's a very good show, and it's about Jesus. For all of you Christians and non-Christians too, you can watch it. You don't, even if you're non-Christian, you probably would really enjoy it. But anyway, it's so good. And there is one scene. I'm assuming everyone knows who Jesus is. Um, and there's this one scene, like, Jesus is an adult and he's healing people, and so all the disciples, those are all his followers, all of them are sitting around a fire and just talking about, yeah, I remember when he did this, and hey, I remember this and I remember that, and they're just talking around the campfire. And I want to say the scene is where Jesus is in like a little tent, and there's this long line of people to see him, and he's healing people, he's praying for these people, and there's his mother around the fire pit with the apostles, the disciples, apostles, whatever you want to call them, his followers. And she's sitting there, and they're talking about how great he is. And but the scene that got me was when his mother is talking. Now take it. This is Jesus' mom. Um, and she's talking about when he was young, I think. That's been a while, but this one line she says is, she's talking and she says, but he doesn't need me anymore. Now that's a mom talking. And this is mom talking about her son, Jesus, the Son of God. And she says, he doesn't need me anymore. And it's a sad thing, because you can see her, like, he's doing his own thing. He's healing, he's praying, he's doing this wonderful act that God has given him, this gift. So they're talking, and I just remembered that line. She says, he doesn't need me anymore. Well, here comes Jesus. It's like Jesus is done. He's done his 9 to 5 job of praying and healing people all day long. Okay. So then after that, he comes and he looks exhausted. Her son looks just exhausted. So she gets up, and they say, "Oh, there's food here," or something. I don't know what they said, but and he's like, he just goes to his little tent. Now, before they go into their tent, they always take their shoes off and wash their feet, of the Jewish faith. So before he goes into the tent, he goes in. She gets up, and she takes this little. There's a, like, I don't know, like a little plate of water or bowl of water, and she goes over and she washes his feet. And it was just one of those moments that a mom would, like, oh my gosh, this was amazing. She's washing his feet, and he's exhausted. And then he goes on. And I'm crying at this point. It's just amazing, because guess what? Even Jesus still needed his mom. And she felt needed. So that's pretty amazing to me. Again, we all are needed. In some place, someone, somewhere needs you. And if you don't have family or very many friends and you want to feel needed, I highly recommend go and volunteer somewhere. You are needed. You can volunteer at food pantries. You can go volunteer at church functions. And a lot of times, even if you don't belong to a certain church, they'll take volunteers. Uh, it- they, I mean, like the police departments have certain functions, and they always need volunteers. Even if it's just to direct a run, you can volunteer for certain runs, again, like 5Ks or whatever. They need people to give people water. They need people to direct them to go in the right direction. So there's always some place that you can volunteer to feel needed. Child advocacy, they always need volunteers there. That's a little bit hard on some people because you don't want to hear or see what some children and families go through, but it's awesome to be able to go and volunteer. So that's my take on volunteering. And if you really feel like you want to feel needed or want to help someone in another way other than family and friends, consider that because I think it'd be great for you. But anyway, so one more thing, I have been meaning to share this since Christmas. Again, I don't know how many of you know. Remember little golden books, the little books that they make? And well, Golden Books is very smart, especially for my generation. They have come up with golden books of, I guess, celebrities. Not celebrity, well, famous people, yes. So I had put that on my Christmas list because I love to read. And so my daughter and my son-in-law got me little golden books biography of Tony Bennett because I love Tony Bennett. I'm so sad that he's gone, but still plays music in my car. Yes, my car still has a CD player, and I'm always listening to Tony. He and Lady Gaga just did some great music. If you've never heard their music together, oh, it's great. Anyway, and she got me also Lucille Ball. I'll take pictures of these and put them on my Instagram. Oh, they're amazing. And of course, my top band, the Beatles. But anyway, these are great books for you to get for your kids if you want your kids to know a little bit about somebody who you liked or loved or used to watch or hear sing or whatever. But anyway, I know that's off the topic. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And also, I want to thank you again so much for listening and so much for taking the time to hear what I had to say. And honestly, I need you. I need you to listen. No, I sound like a mother. I need for you to listen. No, I need for you to listen because knowing that someone is listening and hopefully getting something out of some of my podcasts, I appreciate it more than you will ever know. So at that point, as I always say, go find your blessings because that is so stinking important. Find your blessings each and every day. They could be right in front of you. And until next week, this is Henry on Ticket to Life. And don't forget, you can hear me on WDJY 99.1 FM every Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern. Until next week.